For years, scientists and medical researchers have disagreed on the precise definition of pandemic, but one thing everyone agrees on is that the term described by the widespread occurrence of disease that exceeds that would normally be expected in a geographical region. For the list today, we're counting down the top 10 deadliest pandemics in human history, so let's take a look. Before we begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video here on Marvel 10s. Alright, now back to the video. At number 10, we have the 2009 flu pandemic, H1N1. Though it's easy to forget now that it's mostly in the past, H1N1 caused widespread panic in 2009. It was a hybrid of a human flu virus, bird flu viruses, and two different pig flus. It was also known as the swine flu. This unholy mingling infected between 700 million and 1.4 billion people. Though few people are aware of it, H1N1 is still circulating. It has become one of the many strains that comprise the flu season. At number 9, we have the plague of Shiro, 627 to 628. It is estimated that when it swept over the Western Sasanian Empire, it killed roughly half of the population. The Sasanian Empire's ruler Kavatu Shiro was among the dead, and the plague was named after him, becoming a major part of his rather unflattering legacy. Ironically, the plague was brought home to Shiro by his troops while they were fighting in foreign lands. The plague of Shiro, an indirect result for the Sasanian Empire's attempt to expand, played a critical role in its demise. At number 8, the Hong Kong flu, 1968. Although this outbreak began in Hong Kong, hence the name, it quickly spread throughout the world. The 1968 flu pandemic, H3N2 type of influenza, first spread throughout Southeast Asia, with major outbreaks in Vietnam and the Philippines. By the end of the year, it had spread to Australia, the United States, and various European countries. By 1969, Japan, as well as several countries in South America and Africa, were reporting cases. The 1968 flu pandemic had killed 100,000 people in the United States and 1 million people worldwide by the time it was over. At number 7, we have the third cholera pandemic, 1852 to 1860. The third cholera pandemic began in India and spread across Asia, Europe, North America, and Africa to countries such as Russia, where over 1 million people died. However, it took a severe outbreak for the cause of cholera to be discovered. In 1854, British Dr. John Snow discovered that tainted water was to blame, and it was this breakthrough that eventually allowed officials to bring cholera pandemic under control. At number 6, they have the 1889 flu pandemic. This epidemic initially ran its course over 2 calendar years, but it reappeared in subsequent flu seasons for the next half-decade or so. The epidemic became a pandemic thanks to Europe's railroad systems and transatlantic shipping and travel, spreading too much of the world and claiming 1 million lives. At number 5, we have the typhus epidemic of World War I, 1918 to 1922. The typhus outbreak, which occurred during the time of the Great Strife, was yet another devastating result of World War I. Outbreak of Lyme disease, a bacteria-caused disease with symptoms such as severe back pain and delirium, was caused by lice. As a result, delusioning stations for soldiers were set up on the Western Front, which helped keep those troops healthy. The Eastern Front, on the other hand, was not so fortunate. At its peak, 25 to 30 million cases were reported across Soviet regions, with 3 million Russians and even more Poles and Romanians dying from infection. At number 4, we have the third plague pandemic, 1855 to 1959. Beginning in the 1850s with diseased rodents in China's Yunnan province and spreading to all populated areas of the world thanks to the world's newly established interconnection, this pandemic killed 12 million people, and that was just in China and India. The third plague pandemic in 1959. At number 3, HIV/AIDS 1981 to ongoing. HIV is thought to have spread from primates to humans sometime in the 20th century, and there was an HIV-infected human in the Congo in 1959. But it wasn't until the early 1980s that the disease was identified and named in the US, and the AIDS pandemic truly began to spread and define the decade that followed. Despite early misconceptions that the disease only affected homosexual men and intravenous drug users, AIDS attacked those who did not take precautions indiscriminately and mercilessly. At number 2, we have the Antony Plague, 165 to 180. The earliest pandemic on the list, the scourge arrived in the Roman Empire via soldiers returning from fighting in Western Asia. However, what form it took is debatable, with some speculating that smallpox or measles was to blame. Though it wasn't extremely lethal, with only 2,000 dying in Rome per day at its peak and likely 5 million dying in total. The fact that it's likely claimed the lives of 2 Roman emperors served to plunge the land in the fear and chaos, and likely changed the course of history. Finally, at number 1, we have the Black Death, 1346 to 1353. During its peak in the 14th century, the Black Death is estimated to have killed between 75 and 200 million people, representing roughly 30 to 60% of the Earth's population at the time. Many suspect that this disease was a variant of the bubonic plague that originated and is most easily identified by the tumors that covered victims' bodies. So guys, that was it for the video. What did you think about our video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you're new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to get notified by our latest videos. Thanks for watching.